Okay, good morning, Ridgewood. We are joined today by Dr. Bray. Dr. Bray, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. It's nice seeing the two of you.
Yeah, it's
Of
good to see
course.
you as well.
Yeah, so why don't we just start with you have some different roles within the high school. Just tell us kind of about that and when you arrived at Ridgewood High School and your journey so far.
Sure, I'd be happy to. I arrived at Ridgewood 2.5 years ago, so I'm still new to teaching in a public school. And I currently teach two sections of a foods class and one section of a child development class. So this particular semester, I have 5 sections filled. It's all foods, which is always hectic. 3 were the intro level, and 2 were at the next step, which is called Foods of the World.
That's awesome. I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about how you're doing your classes in a virtual environment, because I saw a couple of pictures. I think it was in the Weekly View with some of the kids, just doing their thing at home. And I just wanted me to hear from you about how you're actually doing that. I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, initially when we had word that we would be home, schooling and working in this virtual environment, I thought it would be for the 3 weeks and that we would all be returning after spring break, and that was my hope. So what I had really come up with was these dining in and baking in activities. And I asked the students to cook using a certain method, but I left it up to them in terms of ingredients. I didn't want to enforce or impose that you must buy certain food items. So they had to capture their experience with photos. They had to have their parents rate how the food turned out. They were judged a little bit on their plating and how well that worked, and even their cleanup and safety and sanitation, which we always stress in foods classes. So they had 2 weeks of completing more of the savory dishes, and then they had 1 week where they were baking. The kids love to bake. They would bake all the time if it was a choice. So I try to keep it like a 2-to-1 ratio. I try to always have 2 cooking labs before we engage in any kind of baking, because I think the balance is super important.
So with the country, being in the middle of everyone being home, you read a lot about the importance of exercise, and cooking seems to always come up in things I read. And what are your thoughts on the importance of cooking and how that can bring people together and families together? I was just wondering what your ideas were there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was wonderful. I heard from a couple parents that this was the first time they'd even seen their students in the kitchen. So food is definitely something that connects us all. It's where we tell stories. It's where we gather together around the table. And I don't know about you and your families, but mine is always on the run. So we maybe get to have dinner together once a week if we're lucky, where we can all sit together. Otherwise, someone's eating dinner at 6 to eat before a practice, or at 9 when they get home from a practice, and they're heating up leftovers or grabbing something on the go. So this, to me, even from my own personal view, being able to sit around the table every single night with my husband and my 2 boys has been amazing. I love to cook, so to me it's a pleasure, even though it makes a huge mess on the regular. I don't really mind, because I think it's worth the mess and the cleanup and the time that it takes. And I'm enjoying every minute of it. And I'm hoping that that's what some of the kids are starting to experience in their own homes, just seeing how important and how relaxing and how connecting, just sitting around the table is and should be, and enjoyable mostly.
Yeah, so playing off of that and talking a little bit about how your family's been kind of using mealtime and cooking. How else has how have things been going at home? What else have you guys been doing outside of that? Just to kind of manage and work through the day.
Yeah, we have very different sleep schedules. I have a sophomore in high school and I have a 5th grader, both boys. So the younger son and myself tend to get up around 6 every morning, and we either make breakfast or we'll go outside. Recently, we just turned on, I have like a little hot tub. It's called a swim spa. So we've been doing a little bit of that. It just started a couple days ago, and this morning was kind of cool because it was actually lightly snowing and we were out there. So that was kind of fun. So we've been keeping busy in the morning, mostly with my younger son. I teach classes starting at 8. So then he's on his own doing what he can with his schoolwork. And when I'm done at about 12:30, I'll stay online, but I'll also help him with whatever he needs help with. And then my older son usually doesn't wake up until about 10. His high school actually doesn't start until 10. So they did, I guess, consider sleep schedules. So that's when his day begins. And he's very independent. He completes all his work and gets that done. Usually at about 4, we all go for a family walk. In September, I got 2 puppies. They're golden doodles, and they're awesome. So when I first got them, they were 16 pounds, and they are now up to 62 and 66, and they're still growing. They're only 7 months. So they also are keeping us quite busy. So we're doing quite a bit at this house between schoolwork and going outside and walking the dogs. Both my kids play basketball. I'm lucky enough I have a basketball court in my backyard, so they're out there on the regular. And we play ping pong. We have tournaments quite a bit. And Monopoly. We're not all as into it as others, but very long Monopoly marathons.
Sounds like you got a crazy house over there. Sounds like a lot of fun though.
Yeah, there's definitely, it's not quiet. That's for sure. I feel like I'm working harder than ever. That's for sure.
I'm sure, yeah. So you've made an immediate impact in a short amount of time at Ridgewood High School. We were talking before we had you on. So you're clearly a great teacher, and the kids have responded to you, and your classes are full in foods and child development. So I was just wondering what your secret is, what your philosophy is on teaching, your approach in the classroom day to day. And you clearly love what you do. So why?
Well, I think that's it. I'm so happy to be doing what I'm doing. I kind of came to a crossroads. I wasn't sure what I wanted to pursue next. I've done quite a few things, but they're all in the health world. I'm a psychologist. I actually started out as a school psychologist. Just for a few years, I found that wasn't for me. And I left that arena and didn't come back until now, which is like 20 years later. So, but in between there, I taught at William Patterson for the last 15 years as an adjunct and loved it. And I think that's where my love of teaching started. I didn't know how to teach. I never was formally taught how to teach. And right out of my doctoral program, they put me into a master's level program. Everyone was my age. I was 23. So they were a lot older. They were all very experienced. I was nervous. They all knew it. And they kind of carried me through the course rather than me carrying them through the course. And I think that just made such an impact on my love of teaching and sharing what I know, but also learning from the people who I'm teaching. And I try to bring that into every class. You know, I know that every child comes with their own set of skills, their own assets, and I really appreciate and value that and encourage as best I can. And I think I'm just so fortunate because I teach really great subjects. I'm sure we all think that way, but I'm very
definitely. Before we get to the lightning round of questions, if you wouldn't mind, do you have any quick bit of advice that you would give to the high school students today?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's going to be spring. The weather's getting better on a more regular basis. Get out there and barbecue, sit outside and have your family dinners, make that, into a longer night and spend time playing cards or whatever it is that you enjoy doing outside. So definitely cooking is on my list. And then, if you're into gardening, whatever your passion is or hobby is, but if you can do it outside, it's even better.
Great advice. Okay, rapid fire round. Here we go.
Yeah.
Coolest place you've ever traveled to?
Africa.
Favorite kitchen utensil?
Favorite kitchen utensil would have to just be my spatula. I love that rubber spatula.
Froze there a little bit. Technical difficulty. Favorite hobby other than cooking?
Other than cooking, I love to garden. I love to go for hikes, which have now turned into walks since all of our parks are closed.
Favorite celebrity chef?
Ina Garten, without a doubt. I love her. I want to visit her. I want to have that lifestyle in the Hamptons. She's amazing. And she was not a formally trained chef. I really think she's fantastic.
Awesome.
What you're most looking forward to doing after we're quarantined?
Well, I think I might go out to eat for the next 30 days once this is lifted. I have a list of restaurants, even though I tend to try to cook quite a bit at home. I really do miss that aspect. So that's probably what I will do. I'll have a 30-day calendar of different places to go out and eat.
And favorite Disney character?
Favorite Disney character would have to be Simba from The Lion King.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Haven't thought of Disney in a very long time.
Well, listen, Dr. Bray, we really, really appreciate you being here today, and continue having fun at home. And again, we're really happy that you're at Ridgewood High School, and fortunate to call you a colleague. So thank you for all you do.
Oh, and thank you for having me, and I appreciate this series because I've got to see a little bit behind some of our colleagues' lives, and that's nice to be able to share.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing with us today.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.